Give me the fucking money, man. Give me the fucking Give me the fucking Hi everyone, it's Jay from Easy Wing Chun. So today I brings in a special guest, right? He's the Krav Maga instructor, Mr. Allan. So Allan, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi everybody, my name's Allan. I'm 42 years old.
Wow.
I've spent, I know I'm getting old, man. I say it all the time. I've been training in Krav Maga now on and off for the past 11 years. And I've dabbled in other martial arts, but most of my time spent in training has been spent in Krav Maga over 3 different associations, small and big. So a lot of my time's been spent there.
So besides Krav Maga, like what else did you do?
I've tried, and I can't say that I've had enough time in them to say I'm actually qualified to have participated long term.
Okay.
But I've dabbled in jiu-jitsu. I've had my hand at kickboxing, boxing. Really small amounts of time. Japanese jiu-jitsu, I've been in and out of those programs. But out of everything I've ever done, even with Wing Chun was probably the second thing I spent most of my time in. That was 3 years, give or take, ballpark, right? Just shy of 3 years. But yeah, everything else was just, I was in for a few months and then I tried it and I got out. It was just, I was getting my feel of what I really wanted to learn. So that was, all those other things I mentioned was when I was younger, in my 20s, not really knowing what I wanted to do.
Okay, so since you mentioned Wing Chun, right? Because Krav Maga is already got a really good reputation, right? Everybody know at the most effective system for self-defense, right? So why you decide to change to Wing Chun?
Got it, good question.
Yeah.
I decided to try Wing Chun specifically because of our trainer, Sifu Adam Chen.
Okay.
Amazing trainer. And what I've noticed about, I should probably take a step back. I can't speak for Wing Chun as a whole because, as we know, there's so many different lineages, different styles of methodologies of teaching it and applications. The one thing I learned from a Wing Chun, from Sifu Adam Chan's perspective, is that he could make a lot of the things that quote unquote didn't work.
Oh yeah.
And now that we've had a chance to spend 3 years with him, we've noticed that someone of his stature, I'm 5'9", I'm 200 pounds. Sifu Adam is 130 pounds, give or take.
Yeah, he's
at 5'3", something
yeah,
like that. I mean, I'm
5'3".
totally ballparking this, right? But
yeah.
I got a photo with him where he's roughly up to my shoulder. But if you look at the YouTube videos, everything he does to me just plows me to the ground. And I'm always fascinated when someone doesn't have to use so much muscles and so much raw power to try to overpower someone else. Because if you look at Krav Maga, that's how we were trained. We're trained to think like soldiers, to train like soldiers. So it's heavy lifting, pushing, hard endurance, always go. But that comes up to a point where your body can't necessarily keep taking that kind of trauma, and if it continues, I was continuing after year 5, and my shoulders were getting, and my elbows were getting problematic issues to the point where I couldn't do pull-ups or push-ups. I used to use, I've never said this publicly, but I'll say it now because I'm here with you. In 2011, I had so many injuries, I was taking a lot of Tylenol. Just to get through my training because the pain was so bad. Because no one ever taught me how to use my body in a way where I can maximize force and output without trying to just do the traditional swing as heavy as you can, get as much muscles as you can, throw your whole body at them as you can, right? Which essentially is what the Krav Maga crazy dog, be a crazy animal type of mentality comes from. Works well in our 20s, doesn't work so well for most of us in our 40s. Right? That's why I switched.
Yeah, I'm just 25. I cannot
Lucky
feel.
Guy.
Yeah,
I'm jealous of this guy. 25. Oh my God.
But man, look, I really envy you, man. If I'm 40 something, I want to be like you. I'm really in shape, right? And be able to move, and be able to do martial art, be able to train kung fu. That's my dream, man. So really, sometimes I really envy you, right? Okay, back to the, we sidetrack a little bit every time we see each other. Okay, so from your perspective, right? So did you apply like you train Krav Maga, then you move into Wing Chun. It's like you're going to high school, then you graduate from high school, then you go to university kind of thing. Like one step is like the baseline, and then you go to the more advanced stuff, or it's like one supplement the others, or it's like it's just equally distributed.
Right. Good question. Really good question. For me, for myself, what I found was using Sifu Adam Chan's Wing Chun, his version of Wing Chun, just allowed me to go back to my Krav Maga movements and refine them. One of the reasons why I looked from that perspective was because in the first month of training with you and with Sifu Adam and the crew of guys that are super good guys, right? All of them came from a different background. And Sifu Adam said his whole goal is to take Wing Chun, make it the foundation. So when you go back to your stuff, it just makes your stuff work so much better. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I cannot agree with you more. Like, before I met him, my 10 years experience in martial art, I cannot do anything. But after I meet him, for some weird feeling when all of a sudden my stuff just worked. I can I can pull out the stuff from karate, from like kung fu, from like Hung Queen, like all of the Chinese martial arts stuff, right? I can pull it out and put it together, just better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
exactly.
It's more like just for the audience so that they understand, because we're doing the same class, right? So what you're trying to say is more like it's help you to like explore more about yourself, right? Your background, right? So let's say your background is Krav Maga. So after you training the Wing Chun, you understand the body better, so that when you go back to Krav Maga, you can refine your skill better, right?
100%. 100%. There's moves that we would do in Krav Maga that was just about brute force. After using Wing Chun principles and learning, at least to my level, which is not great, but for the 3 years I've gotten a lot. It allows me to go back to certain techniques in Krav Maga, use half the amount of energy output, and make it work even better than before I had learned with you guys.
Yeah, because because the trend nowadays is like in martial art words, for some reason, like Wing Chun guys like, no, we're the best, and then kickboxer like, no, we're the best, and then MMA guy like, no, we're the best. So what do you think about that? Like, do you think there's some sort of like the best martial art, or like every martial art is kind of equal?
I feel like when it comes to martial arts, every person has a martial art that they'll gravitate towards more than another one. Like something that you might like may be different from what I like. So is it better? It's like you like a Ferrari, I like a Porsche. Which one's better? Well, it all depends on what you're looking at, right? What I found is that when people compare, a lot of times, especially when they're cross arts and they compare, a lot of times they're comparing from different kinds of worlds. Like, you know this, and I'm sure a lot of your viewers do as well.
Yeah.
You've got primarily the 3 kinds of martial arts categories. Like it could be, let's say, karate, but there's still 3 subcategories of karate. You've got the guys who love the art, so they don't necessarily want to fight, but they love the art. They love the kata. They go and compete in kata, but they don't want combat. And then you've got the other guys that like combat, they like the art, but they like it within the system of a sport. So there's regulations, there's rules. They'll get hit, but they don't have to worry about dying. And then you've got the other guys that are just raw, street mentality, no holds bar. I want to go crazy and I'm going to use karate. You know what I mean? So you've got these 3. And what happens is a lot of times we're not taught when we walk into a school, what does the teacher focus on? Is it the art? Is it the sport? Or is it the street combat? The student will a lot of times come in and presume to themselves, well, I'm here because I want to learn street combat. But they just found out later, like 2 years later, their instructor is mostly focused on the art, not even on the sport fight. So now there's a confliction, right? And so when you get these guys going out saying, well, this style's better, I think it's really good to just look at, in my opinion, just to look at ourselves. And what I do is I say, is this the best art for me? Because no matter, like my old teacher said this years ago, no matter how good, no matter how fast, no matter how strong you are, somebody else out there is going to be faster, stronger, better than you at some point in your life. And as long as you don't have the wrong attitude, you won't have to worry about meeting them somewhere accidentally in the back of a dark alley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's important to keep that good attitude, because we're only going to be at that like that kind of ability for so long. Someone else is going to be better out there.
Yeah, that's true. Because we're not like internal longevities, right?
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna get bad at some point, right?
Right.
But to follow this, because this is really good answers, by the way. So to follow this, because look, I totally agree with you. I love every single art. I respect all of them. I want to train as much as I could so that I can pull out what works for me, right? But just for like the YouTube communities, because a lot of time where they say, because since you mentioned that we need to good attitude, right? So usually the Sifu that loves the art, what he teaching is hitting you the personality, teaching you to be a better person, right? So through training, you develop that habit inside your brain. So you actually, through the form to kata, you teaching your brain to be disciplined, to be better in life and stuff, right? But a lot of people think that is not what martial art means to me, because martial art is the art of war, right? Because it literally means like that, right? Martial mean war. So the art of war, and then you don't actually fight. You got what I mean? It's like there's like, oh, the fighting part is more important. What do you think about that?
I think it depends on two variables. Number one is age. I find the younger guys are usually more like, I want to mess this guy up, right? And then as we get, and you know what? I should say, and I'll put this on camera, I'll put this on film. When I was younger, I was like that. There was a part of me that was like, oh, I want to be great, I want to be so good. But you know what? As you get older, you start to realize, oh, okay, well, no, it doesn't continue as you get older. And the thing I've learned is that just like what you said, martial art usually means like it refers to the art of war, right? Some form of art of war. And then I read from this guy, I can't remember what master he was. And you've heard this, I'm sure a lot of you have as well. He said, it's better to be the warrior in the garden than to be the gardener in the middle of a war.
Yeah.
So you have the skill, but it doesn't mean you go out there and use it everywhere. Because now you attract other people with those kind of skills, and all they want to do is hurt you too.
Yeah.
I would rather be the warrior who's peaceful and who lives happy than the guy running around that's just trying to beat everybody up. That just doesn't.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me.
I totally agree. I don't really want to, like, let's say I go out, I see a muscular guy, I'm like, I don't really want to mess with this guy. Why I want to mess with this guy? Right. He didn't hurt me. He didn't do anything wrong to me, right? Why I have to like fight him just to prove that I'm better, right? It's all about ego now, right? But let's say if like somebody broke in while we're doing interview right now, and then two of us like move right away, we don't like just like panic, right? We're shaking, right? That should be the purpose of training, right? That should be the purpose of self-defense, right?
Especially living in the big city these days, if you look at the news, every single night, no exaggeration, every night there's someone getting stabbed, somebody getting robbed, there's somebody being held at gunpoint. 2 weeks ago, there was a lady here that here in downtown Vancouver, a guy walks up to her with a gun, the traditional as in we've always trained it, give me your purse, with a gun to her face. It's in the news report. Like, you don't know, one of my trainers said, you won't always choose the moment of violence. Sometimes the moment of violence will choose you. So because we don't know when that's going to happen, like you said, it's better to have that skill to respond than to not have the skill and not know what to do. Yeah. It's unavoidable. Violence is not avoidable 100% when living in a big city.
Well, totally agree. Like Sifu Adam Chan, right? He always told me that martial art is the art of killing. So it's the art. We learn how to kill people. But it actually teaches us how to live my life, right? How to live our life, right? That is very deep. Like sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, that's deep. Like once in a while, when I'm like taking the shower, I'm like, okay, that's deep.
I think you and I went to him for that purpose. We have that same mindset. We don't want to go out and fight the world. No, there's enough hate out there. There's enough hate out there in the world. You got to admit, right? It's nice to be able to live your life comfortably where you don't have to worry about all the hate that's out there. Because you build that self-confidence. I find people that go out there and they want to fight everybody, 9 times out of 10, they just have a deep insecurity that they've got to get out there and prove something. And I'm not pointing fingers. I was that guy when I was younger. I was one of those guys. Wow. And as I grew older, I realized, well, shit, why am I always so angry? Why do I look at everyone like they're an opponent? Why do I always want to compare myself? at the end of the day, I was just really freaking insecure when I was young. And once I got that handled and I realized, okay, it's not about them, it's about me. Now when I come into training, when I come to Krav Maga, when I come to you guys in Wing Chun, it's not always about beating them. It's about improving myself, which is similar, but it's a fine line. It's a fine line, right?